Joining me now is security expert Steve Adelman. And Steve, I think everybody's sitting out there tonight thinking, not again. Schools, though, on the scale, schools are fairly safe historically.
Yeah, well, that's right. And especially lower schools like this elementary school in Connecticut, they have lots of restrictions on access that are very unusual at a shopping center or a movie theater. So if we look at the security at this particular school, they did a lot of things right, a lot of things that you would want a school to do, and yet this tragedy took place there anyway.
So, Steve, is a lesson that you cannot plan for every possible threat.
Well, that's certainly true. You can't plan for every possible threat, or perhaps it would be better to say you can't prevent every possible threat. What you should do is plan for even the unthinkable but possible threats, such as an active shooter situation.
Let me throw this at you. Statistically, in America, there are 50 million school children in this country. So the chances are 1 in 2 million that something could happen to your child. Well, it's very, very rare.
I'm the parent of an elementary school child, and if somebody said that to me and I were one of the parents in Connecticut, that would be very cold comfort tonight.
Absolutely right. So, Steve, with all of these shootings we have seen, and this is not something new, by the way, in America, you start going back and looking, there were school shootings going back to the 1800s, believe it or not. And actually, they'd been on the wane in the past 2 decades. Now we see a series of these.
That's right, and we are seeing a series of these. One statistic that I saw today was that since the Columbine shooting in April 1999, there had been 33 different school shootings, not going up to the college level, so we don't include Virginia Tech, but elementary, middle, and high schools. So today in Connecticut was the 34th school shooting since 1999 in the U.S.
What is the answer, Steve?
Well, I think we have to look at the 3 component parts here. This is certainly a gun issue. There is an element of public health, and there is a security issue. So my area of expertise is the security aspect, and I think what we see from this school in Connecticut is even a very well secured school can't prevent every active shooter situation from taking lives. And so security standing alone cannot be the answer. It has to work in conjunction with other things, such as awareness and some consideration of the accessibility of guns.
And identifying someone who can do harm, or who may be prone to do harm.
Right, and that's the public health issue. So we're now hearing at least glimmers of information about the shooter and his family dynamics, and certainly the coming days will tell us more. But what we see in these active shooter situations is there's at least some level of mental disturbance. That's pretty obvious because otherwise they wouldn't go on the rampage in the first place.
Would reducing guns solve this?
Well, that's going to be the big discussion, certainly over coming days, is what role does the availability of guns play? So again, taking this in the context of today's events, Connecticut has very strict gun laws. And what I've heard is that the weapons that have been identified so far, the 2 pistols and the semi-automatic, were all legally registered to the shooter's mother. So by that count, restricting access wouldn't do much because these guns were all legally acquired.
Steve Adelman, good to see you again. Appreciate your time tonight.
Thank you.
Thanks.